What's up everybody, it's Jaryn from Virtual Bike on Board, and today we are trying to figure out if smoother really is faster. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of talk these days, especially on gravel roads, where everybody's making these strange full suspension, huge fat tire bicycles that are supposed to roll over the bumpy roads really easily, because supposedly that is not only more comfortable but also faster. So how are we going to test that? That is a custom built S-Works Crux Specialized. It is their basically gravel race bike. It's crazy that we have multiple gravel bikes in the gravel category nowadays. There's no suspension on this bike. It's got a rigid rear end, rigid front end, aggressive riding style. It really is meant for racing your bike on gravel roads. Tires on that, those are 42 millimeter tubular tires. Because we want to keep things consistent, we're going to run that wheel and tire on this bike with the same pressure. I'll probably run 45 PSI on them, probably 38 PSI. We'll figure it out. And then we're going to take the wheels off that bike and we're going to put them on this bike so that wheels and tire pressure stay the same. This is a Specialized Diverge STR Expert. It is the new gravel, comfort gravel, endurance gravel bike that they just came out with. There is suspension in the front of this bike. There's also suspension in this nifty seat post situation back there. It is meant to, they're saying STR, suspend the rider. So keep the rider comfortable on the bumps. What I want to figure out is if it's going to actually be faster on the bumps as well. How are we going to test that? We're going to go to one of my favorite segments in the Berkshires. It goes along the Housatonic River. It's 3 miles long. It is bumpy, a little bit hilly, but not just a straight climb. You've got to zig and zag a little bit. There's some rocky sections. There's some downhills, which I will completely coast from the top of every downhill to the bottom of every downhill. And we're going to time it on a stopwatch as well as on Strava, and I'm going to average 200 watts from start to finish of the entire segment. Hopefully, I don't know if I can do 200 watts right now because I'm fat and old and out of shape, but I think I probably can. I'm going to record with power meter pedals on both bicycles, so we will have the lap data on Strava to reference. And we're going to see which bike is going to do that faster. So, question of the day is smoother really faster? And we're going to go figure that out right now. About a 10-minute segment. The most interesting part will be probably to see if I can do 200 watts for 12 minutes right now. I can't do 200 watts. And we're up.
All right, how you feeling?
Fuck. 200 watts is way too much for this road. Downhill coast. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, new plan. Go absolutely as fast as you can on the segment because the power meter's not working because it's too cold outside. Turn yourself inside out and see what that says on the clock. And so I just went as fast as I could. And I think it was pretty fast, at least for me, right now in the winter, because I'm fat. A couple other things to note. This is stupid because the road is so bumpy. There's ice everywhere. There was 2 cars that we passed. Bike riding is a nightmare. So I really wanted this to be a very scientific test, but the universe has shined a light down on us and told me exactly what everybody else knows, is that I'm just not really that scientific of a guy. So the power meter thing, we're throwing that out the window. We're going by feel here, which is how I ride bikes anyways. So that feel was full gas, 110%, because this thing was basically telling me that 30 watts was my full power. So I don't know. Anyways, how did the bike feel? The bike is fast. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I don't know if it's the wheels and tire combo or the bike, but as soon as you put power down on this bike, the thing shoots out in front of you. It feels like riding a race bike, but we're on dirt roads that are covered with ice. So it's gotta be pretty fast. I haven't ridden the other bike yet, so it's hard to do a comparison side by side, but I guess, you know, if you ride a $15,000 Specialized S-Works Crux, like, that's what you get. You put the power down, the bike goes like a rocket ship. Yeah, I don't know, I'm basically in a blackout right now from that, so it's hard to really give my full opinion. But it's fast. It timed my time for the segment, because I started the segment on Strava, and it said I did it in 10 minutes and 12 seconds, which, in all seriousness, I think is the new KOM, because I have the old KOM, but we shall see once we pull the phone back out.
Run. There he goes.
That's a Diverge STR, suspend the rider. That's like basically suspension is what I would call it. It flexes like this. Made a whole video about it, explaining it. But basically it's a pretty fancy contraption to make your bike feel smoother. It works amazing. That being said, if you don't want to buy a brand new bike, here's a pretty amazing piece of technology that I feel like isn't talked about enough. This is a SRAM Axis Reverb, maybe, I don't even know what it's called, seat post. Here's how it works. Right now the seat post is down, like in its dropper position, so there's no give to it. If I press these two levers here and then go on the seat post, this happens. So it's basically a dropper seat post like on a mountain bike. The cool part about this that, again, I don't feel like is talked about enough is if I bring this thing down just a teeny little bit, like so, now it's a suspension seat post. It's killer is what I'm trying to say, basically. And if you want to make your bike a little bit more comfortable and you don't want to spend $1 million on a new bike, that baby will serve its purpose pretty well for you. The power is dramatically different, but I'm just going to go as fast as I can. So you're gonna do flybys and zip ahead? Okay, here we go. Right off the bat, well, one, my legs hurt a little bit. Two, the bike is incredibly comfortable. I cannot deny that. And it feels like I'm riding a full suspension mountain bike compared to a hardtail. And because this road, hell, is pretty bumpy, it's pretty nice. It does feel good. All right, now I have to turn myself inside out.
All right, on your mark, get set, go.
First lap I did on the Crux, which is technically the race bike, and the power meter was all messed up and like it was a little sporadic, so I was like looking down at the computer more, and then I would pick a bad line. So maybe it was because I was riding a race bike and my brain was like, you're in a bike race and things are frantic and hectic, and my heart rate was probably through the roof right off the bat because I'm competitive and blah blah, and things weren't working. Then I get on this bike. It's a full suspension gravel bike. I have no expectations. I really wanted the Crux to be faster because I'm like, I want a Crux, I want a race bike this year. I don't want to ride a Diverge again because they're for going slow and enjoying the ride. This bike was 23 seconds faster. I was shocked, honestly, but then again, I will put the caveats in there. So I rode flat out on this bike, I rode flat out on the last bike. The difference is on this bike, pretty much right off the bat, I knew the power meter wasn't working. So I was in the mindset of like, go smooth. pick the right line. You didn't see the road, but the road is like ditches everywhere, huge puddles everywhere. We passed 2 cars again. There was dogs. Like the road is a disaster. But the whole time I was looking like 100 yards ahead, I'm like, go right here, go right there, go right here. This thing is comfy, so it just puts you in that mode of like you're freaking riding on rails. You know, I hate to say like, oh man, the bike is really smooth and it's fast, but proof is in the pudding. So I don't know, it'd be interesting if like some bike nerd somewhere wants to do a more mathematic test, but at the end of the day, that ain't me. So what's faster? Today, a full suspension gravel bike was faster than a rigid race bike with the same wheels and the same tires. With that said, like I always say, thanks for watching. If you like this comment, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Any interesting comments below would be much appreciated and welcomed. And like I always say, round up for distance, round down for time. Thanks for watching. I'm tired.